What up, LA? What up, what up, what up?
Hello.
How you guys doing? So what you think about the film?
And the filmmakers are here today, so let's give them a round of applause as well.
What up, Rock? Winners Rock.
I was watching that film and I was like, that's a 50-foot pool? I've been there dozens of times.
And he didn't know he was in a damn swimming pool. I can't
didn't know
believe
that every meeting we had
Mr.
was sitting in the
Creative
swimming
over
pool.
here.
You know, I was like, oh, this is a nice patio.
It's a big ass patio.
Well, thank you for being here. And as Claudia mentioned, this is as part of Ron's participation in the Breathe exhibition. And I, you heard her tell the story of the moment of inception. And we started the show right before the pandemic and the George Floyd and Asian violence. And so we wanted to, Mika Yoshitake, my co-curator, and myself wanted to make a show that really was anchored in the combination of, discussing issues of climate and social justice. And out of a long list of artists, I frequent to tell the story that Ron was the first phone call that I made because he embodied I tell all the artists that. But he was, and because he embodies, the combination of that. Again, it's a combination. It is what it is. Is what it is. But come to find out, also we were ruminating on the title, "Breathe." And then in one of our first meetings, Ron shared with me a story of some young folks that he was challenging about what the most important thing is. And can you tell that story just as a jump-off point?
Why don't we do it? What's the most important thing to your life? Well, see, they know. We can't
Y'all
do
know.
it.
Y'all got the cheat sheet.
He said he didn't know. He was about to say something. So no, it's the challenge is that that this with the kids. I was at a school in New Jersey was Long Branch Middle School, and this kid sees my garden, up on the screen, and I'm in the kids with the kids in the auditorium, and this one kid, are you rich? I said, yeah, I'm rich. I said, but so are you. He said, I'm not rich. I want to be rich. I said, well, yeah, why? Well, because, I said, yeah, I know. You want this, you want diamonds. I set his little ass up. I said, you want diamonds? He said, yeah, I want diamonds. I said, why you want diamonds? He said, because if I have diamonds, that means I'm rich. I'm like, really? Okay, so I said, you have $550,000. He goes, yeah. Little black kid. And what the beauty of that is, you could tell he had imagination because you could not tell. He saw, I got $550,000. I said, you go to the jewelry store, and it's beautiful. It's all lit and shiny and chrome and glistening. And you go to the counter and you tell the person, I have $550,000 and I want a diamond. I said, okay. So they go back, bring you these beautiful gems in these velvet boxes, square cut, heart shape, rectangle. He said, yeah. So he's like, okay. So then he picks, and they tell you it's flawless and it's this cut. He don't know what the hell they're talking about, but he said, yeah, okay. So he picks the square diamond. So okay. So they take the diamonds back, bring him his diamond back in this beautiful, blue bag, and he says, yeah. And I did a three count because he was in it. You could tell this kid he was feeling that he had this diamond. So to myself, I did a 3 count. Then I said, got real close to the mic. I said, okay, who's rich? And it was silence, just like now. It was just total silence in the whole auditorium, 450 kids. Ah, ha, ha, ha. They lost it. And I said, got your little black asses, And I said, and that brought on that it's a rock, like any other rock, and these out of the ground. It comes from your Mother Earth. You don't appreciate Mother Earth, but you appreciate everything that comes from her. So that was like showing them we need to take care of our mother. You take care of your mother, you take care of yourself. And I went on. It's like nothing's more precious than you. Nothing's more valuable than you. Nothing's more. I just went on one than you. Not the tennis shoes. Not the phones. All of that's worth nothing. And they got it. It was cool because the pause was so long that it was brilliant. I mean, and it's like that's what we need to tell them. I said, and I told them about these brilliant white guys they're mining these diamonds, and they tell you they're rare. They're not rare. It's a rock. So, but they have us thinking that that they're valuable, and not that we need to train. We need to teach our kids that they are the most precious, the most valuable things on this planet, and we don't do that. Because they need. I was at a school. I did something here that when you walked up the other day when the kids were sitting down up in the garden, impromptu, and the kids. I said, what's the most valuable thing to your life? What's the most? And this kid said, my PS5. So no, we need to show these kids what truly that they are the most valuable thing on this planet, and that's what this is about. That's why I do what I do. I mean, we have to have these kids pledge allegiance to this planet and themselves, and we don't. We have them pledge allegiance to these brands and tennis shoes and killing people over a watch or a phone, or because the reason you would do that is because you don't see yourself having no value. So it's up to all of us to change that shit.
So to finish Ron's story that he didn't finish that about the breathing though is that you finish the story because I'm going to tell a Ron Finley story next to Ron Finley.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Because it goes to my title.
It
Goes to my title. The breathe. The value of breath.
Oh well, I told him the most important thing because I'll ask that question. And the most important people tell you my puppies, my cats, my wife.
Water.
Yeah, water. And some clown always says water. And I'm like, what the hell do you think, the O in H2O stands for? It's oxygen. Oxygen is the single most important thing and they say, you can't tell me to my life. And I've said, you're right. It's not the single most important thing to your life. It's the single most important thing to every damn thing on this planet. Is oxygen, is air. We don't get that. How many people sit here and like every morning you get up, damn, I love that air. Raise your hands. Exactly. 2 people. Do you know how precious air is? Hold your breath right now, if you can. Yeah, no, we need to stop underestimating it. And that's part of the thing with the show Breathe. It's like we don't think about it. We take air, we take breath for granted, and we shouldn't. We should celebrate it every moment that we have. At least give up when you wake up in the morning. At least acknowledge it. And most of us don't know how to breathe. We have not been trained. We were born in water. Most of it we don't, but we lost that, and we can get it back. It's still in there. So that's what the thing with the whole breathing is.
So that and many of the stories, once we started talking to Ron, reaffirmed our use of the word "breathe" as the title. Because it was.
But he told all the artists that too.
No.
Same thing.
Otherwise, it would have been called water.
All right.
They should have been water towards the climate and social justice.
And with that, it's like how many oceans are there? Anybody knows? How many? I can't hear you. There's one motherfucking ocean.
Trick boy, got you.
All that shit touches. Every ocean, every bed, some brilliant ass white man or somebody Spanish who think they white. They put this line down and say, okay, all right, that's yours. And right here is ours, and we're going to call that the Indian. And that one's Atlantic. Yeah, that's a good name. There's all that shit touches. So when you let your Fukushima water, when you turn the tap and let it flood into the so-called Pacific Ocean, you're polluting because it's safe. If it's safe, keep it. Keep that shit. We don't want it. So now we got Fukushima fish and shit. But when all the water touches, so when you pollute the Pacific, you're polluting all the water everywhere, even the rivers. Because where do rivers run to? Oceans. But we believe this bullshit,
So I want to take a ask you a few questions that are not in the film and not in anything that I've ever liked to really watch for you. And I will say,
Dun, 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 dun.
as you guys probably know, being fans of Ron as well as myself, every time I'm with you, I learn a thing. I learn a thing or five. And like you said about the Tommy Smith image, every time, most people, myself included, but most people are with you.
This dude and Tommy Smith. Anybody knows about Glenn and Tommy Smith?
I spend a lot of time with Tommy Smith. But every time.
Why you can't talk about you? Why we can't talk about you?
This is the Ron Finley talk. I'm the
Okay.
interviewer. I'm the But like Tommy, every time I'm around you, and most people around you, like we stand up a little bit taller on the way out. There's a confidence and an inherent learning, that most people get from hearing your story and hearing you speak. And I tend to think when I walk away, it's because you have a well composed sort of you're a very highly functioning creative person, but you're so sensitive and you care so much about the world. You care about people. And it's a unique combination to be able to do that. And I'd say you talk about kids a lot. Let's go back to your childhood. Like, was there something in your youth that really you think that you can pinpoint or just kind of generated that love of people and love of the planet? Didn't come from anywhere, so that's what.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Not really. I think back in the 1800s when I was a kid, I there was this thing that I found out years and years later, when I was an adult, called dyslexia. I can't even say this shit. Dyslexia. And I had, it was never, they didn't diagnose it then or whatever, And I think that made me see things. I thought something was wrong with me. I was the guy in the special trailer, at high school, and people were like, where are you going? I said, that's for the special kids. So everybody thought I was brilliant and shit. I couldn't read, So the way they wanted us to, and or the way we so-called supposed to. So I had to figure out things sideways, upside down, use my toes, use my, everything that I could. But I would come up with a lot of times with the right answer. Sometimes it takes me longer. So, I mean, with that, what it got me to, and it got me to with my children thing, is fuck your standardized education. Nobody's standard. We're all custom. You teach a child the way they learn, not the way you teach. And you know that. That's why it's called. So and it's like I tell these parents, because I've talked to, it's like, my kid's not dead and he's not listening. He's ADD. I said, he learns different. He's bored in school. I said, so be patient and I don't want my kids to fit in. To what? I don't want my kids standing in these lines and doing that bullshit. I want them to think wrong. Think different than what they have us thinking. And so I think I was one of those kids that I didn't want to follow the pack. And I don't know what it was. I mean, it's just at some point, I was I was in I think 15, 16. I was leaving junior high, right into junior high school. And I was studying tailoring at 15 because they didn't make clothes to fit black people. We accommodated the clothes instead of the clothes accommodated us, but nobody addressed that. And I'm like, little kid, skinny legs, big thighs, big old butt, and didn't, clothes, like a lot of women still had this problem. They clothes didn't fit me, so I'm like, I want to make my own clothes. And with that, I started making clothes, and then I started selling clothes to people, custom clothes. So that took me on that, and it got me to the point, I want everything in my life to be custom. When I sit in the chair, I want to say, yeah.
It's my chair.
Yeah. It just let me know that there was something in me that I could make something. I could create something. And so I think all the trades, wood shop, all of these kind of things, the metal shop, they should not stop that. And what they're doing is they're yeah they're they're um, they're killing our creativity. I mean, literally, we're taking the creativity out of kids. You know, even having them stand in line and stuff, and like it's like don't touch, don't do this, don't do it. I mean, this is the thing kids want. You want them to touch, you want them to feel different surfaces. You know, it's like if they're drawing. Oh, he draws on my wall. So what? Let them get some damn paint and repaint it. You want them to experience. You want them to be different. I did. I mean, because I don't want them. This is to be normal. Ain't nothing sexy about being normal.
Absolutely. And well, it's like in terms of like the dyslexia, I think that that's it's a great artist story, right?
Yeah.
Like the world excluded you in some capacity because normies read in a certain way, and you were building your own sandbox, or in this case, your own garden. To play it. And I'll say that when I first met Ron years and years ago, I had already actually known one of his sons. I know Delphin's here, but I don't know if Koshin's here. But I known one of his sons. Koshin's, yeah. So I met one of his sons, and I went up to Ron. And I said, "Hey, Ron," and I'm a father of two daughters. I said, "Ron, I'm a huge fan of your work. You're amazing. But I want to just say," and I thought I was being really clever, but you can't really be too clever with Ron. And so I said, "But I have to say, I'm such a fan of your parenting because your sons are amazing." And I just want to say, as a father, like you're a role model there too in terms of raising great sons. And he says, "Man, that's just easy. You just care for them, support them, and that's it." And I was like, "Fuck!" I walked away like, "Damn, you're right." There's a very plain, curt simplicity that recenters a notion of value. And I think a lot of what you talk about in your work and that we saw in the film and is really questioning and reprioritizing value. Whether it's the diamonds and questioning who established value for some of these metrics that we that dominate our lives, right? Like we aspire to go. What advertising campaign invented the 2-month payroll for a wedding ring? What a very clever market or Christmas.
3 months pay.
Yeah, 3 months pay for
probably 4 months now. That's just brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, what an amazing campaign.
Don't
That's
hate
like
the player, hate
that's
the
an
game
evil,
shit. But it's
boat
brilliant
motherfucker.
because no matter what you make, you're supposed to spend 4 months' salary on your engagement ring. Okay, but nobody knows what they're selling you there.
Exactly.
Nobody. That's the brilliance of it. They're not selling you an engagement ring. They're selling you a wedding ring.
They're actually telling you the disappointment of your partner,
right?
Exactly. Right? If you don't do that.
So you got to go in when you buy the wedding. When you buy the wedding ring, that's just brilliant because they never mentioned spend 4 months salary on your engagement ring. Bam, and it came from Jesus, God, Jehovah, Buddha. Oh my God! And people bust their ass to get this. Look what he got me. It's a little small, but he loves me.
I'm waiting for the crowd of 500 people to start laughing at them when they shelf their ring. But let's talk more about value because you also had a cool project that was like alluded to here, but where you printed money and because you have often said this phrase, growing your food is like printing your own money. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, we did this campaign basically came out of a line that from my TED Talk, growing your own food is like printing your own money. So we did this. I had these brilliant marketers, BBDO, one of the biggest, and they came and they say, "Hey, Ron, we got some ideas," and they came with these ideas, and I'm like, okay, no, we got a better one. No, what about this one? It was we got a better one. So we came out with I guess we should have had some pictures. Yeah, we came out with my own money, and it was made just like money, but instead of it says in Dragonflies we trust, and it was literally it had seeds. Like anybody seen that seed paper or the cards and they tell you plant this? None of that shit works. Anybody had it work before? Damn, nobody's raising their hand.
I've tried it like 2 or 3 times.
It's the biggest scam all over the world. That shit don't work. So what we did, and I told them, this is the brilliant part about working with somebody with BBDO. I told them none of that paper works. It doesn't. And so they Ron, it has to. I'm like, so one of the girls took her over her kitchen and got paper and cards from around the world for 30 days. And she calls me and says, Ron, guess what? None of that shit worked. So we came up with our own way where we had the seeds with this water soluble adhesive literally on top of the money. And so you plant them, you put the money in the ground, boom, and put some soil over it. So we did a campaign where we marched from anybody know D.C., Anacostia Park to in front of the Federal Reserve, which is Constitution Park is right across the street. So in Constitution Park, we planted this money in the ground. And I don't know if anybody went back and see. We were going to go when we were just there to see it. Well, I wondered what came up, but it was the whole concept of it and bringing attention is like, what's the real gold? You know, that we don't value a seed. Nobody tells you the power in one seed, and that's what this campaign was about. You know, we walked the 3 miles that usually people in so-called underprivileged places have to walk. They have to walk 3 miles to get any kind of healthy food, and we walked that 3 miles, and it was pretty dope. I mean, it was kind of surreal to be passing by, you know, the Department of Agriculture, you know, hollering, we don't want to cause a fit, we just want to plant some shit, you know. So it was pretty, and we wound up winning a Lion Award for the campaign with who is it? Who gives out the lions?
Cannes Film Festival,
yeah,
Golden Lion. He was like, we want a lion. It's like,
no, it was. I mean, it was only against like 16,000 other people. You know, come on. So yeah. So no, that I mean, we need to bring attention to this. It's like, I'm gonna ask you guys, raise your hand or raise both of them. How many here know somebody that passed away from cancer recently, are dealing with cancer right now? Spouse, anybody you know that's having issues with cancer, raise your hands. Yeah, I don't know why I do this because it usually make me cry when I see that shit. I mean, you see the numbers? Why are they all rare forms of cancer? Why is it I thought rare means there's 2 or 1 or some shit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like this is why I do what I do. We should not have to be dealing with this shit like this. You know, and it's like, why is our government allowing this to happen? Why are we putting these products on our tables? You know, why is it so like you seen the Killer Mickey D's now? You know, it's like, and why is this happening? You know, and you don't hear about stuff like this in other countries. You know, you take a product here take a cereal and we got 16,000 ingredients in it, and then in Europe they have 4. You know, and it's like, and they know that this stuff is poisonous. Why is our government allowing this to happen? It's like I said, it's like genocide, but slow and controlled. So, and who benefits from this? Hey, we got a pill. Yeah, take this pill. Take this, but your left ear is gonna tingle at 6 o'clock every night. So we got another pill. Yeah, so take this one, and your ear won't tingle as much, but your right nipple is going to dumb shit. You know, it's always they got something to counter. You got a pill to counter a pill to counter a pill. So we got to. Is this by accident? No, it has to be. That's why it should be a RICO case. Shit's a conspiracy. I mean, that literally, and we're allowing it. Everything that you put on your body, damn near, it's killing you. You know, it's like we have, and I learned this maybe 10 years ago from some scientists at a conference that I was at. So, and they said all like women in childbearing age, you are passing microplastics on to your unborn children. They said people in France discovered that people are not decomposing the way they used to because of all the plastics in our body. And we're nobody knows about this. I mean, about all these clothes that these companies, the sportswear companies, and all this, the stuff is. Oh, you don't sweat in this. it I need to sweat. So what is this stuff made of? What is the shit made of that's not allowing you to sweat? What is the chemicals compound in these clothes? They're killing us. The lotions killing us. Sunscreen. It's the fucking sun. It takes the paint off cars. I'm gonna dab this stuff on my skin and it's gonna protect me. Stop. It's thermonuclear. I mean, give me a break. So it's like stuff like that. And they found that some of these skin cans, these sunscreens, I read a little too much, even though I can't read. That it's we need to stop this. We need to stop this because apparently they aren't. So you got to see the connection. You don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. You got to see the connection between these food lobbyists, the food companies, the hospital, the prisons. It's a perfect oil. It's like we need to fit. No, the shit works perfect. It works perfect. It don't work for us, but it works perfect. So no, it's like this organic movement, the regenerative movement, cotton. I mean, dude, it's like, guys, try finding some organic cotton underwear. It's like you're wearing, you can't find, I mean, the drawers is killing your balls. And it's like, I might want to do something.
I want that T-shirt.
Right.
So many places to go from there. But let's go to the Gangsta Gardener. I had a I would say troubled youth growing up. I was kicked out of a bunch of high schools.
Wow.
Why? Associated with Asian gangs. But I in retrospect, I realized that my affinity and Asian gangs were a place that I felt like represented I'm old. The only representation of Asian masculinity that existed in the world, right? It was like Long Duck Dong, and I would watch these Hollywood films. I'm like, that's not me. I'm cool. I'm gonna be cool. Like, that's not me, And unfortunately, the only role models, my dad was an entrepreneur, not around a lot. The only role models, were in my local vicinity were Asian gangs, and so. But when I got out of gangs, I realized what a masculinity trap it was, in order to just find yourself, because obviously the output, of actual street gangs is not productive, right? And so when I encountered, you and the Gangsta Gardener, I was like, oh, what an amazing way to challenge our notion of what masculine activities are and what being a man is and manhood, or I guess, at least for me as a that. But I mean, for everyone, in terms of like the aspirations of that level of like kind of criminality, the way it's like painted in the picture, to twist that up on its head and say gardening is gangster, I thought I still think is a genius idea to put that forth. And then you represent that so strongly that it's like everyone has to buy in, right? So where did that come from, and how does that work? This is awesome.
I guess I'm up on this stage. It must be working kind of good.
Yeah.
It just came from this whole notion of what's gangster. See, when I was younger, that's gangster, and it didn't have anything to do with misogyny or violence or drug. It was like that was some fly shit. And with this, I wanted to flip the whole gangster metaphor on its head. It's robbing, stealing, killing, drugging, alcohol, it's just, that shit ain't gangster. And I don't want it to be a part of my culture. That should not define my culture. And I just thought, gardening's gangster. This is some gangster shit. But you can't get no more gangster than air, because you can't see that shit and try doing without it, see how that works. And it just turned from there. And when you think of gardeners. Gardeners not selfish. You know, they know how to share. They know that there's enough for everybody if we all got together. And I just wanted, I didn't want this whole, I'm in prison in New Zealand. And all the guys, all the brown, all the Asians in there, everybody's in there because of this whole gangster mentality that they're seeing in the States. So they're emulating this. And it's like you said, this is a man shit. This how real man roll. And I'm in there and I'm listening to these stories, you know, and I said, dude, do you know half those guys were actors? They lived in, you know, these little bitty towns, you know, in middle America somewhere. It was a role. They were role playing. And so now you guys believe it. So now all over the world, when we go somewhere, they think we all get down like that because they haven't been exposed to anything else. They haven't seen us in other lights. They haven't seen us, you know, roll another way because that they put so much prominence and so much energy on putting this message out in the music, you know, so that I just wanted to flip that, you know. Actually, one of the things early on I wanted to do, it didn't never do that. I wanted to do a video where it has, there was it was about Dylan, you know, Dylan. So you had these kids on the corner, you know, slanging shit. You know, so the like, yo, let me have a 2-pack. Let me have, you know, so like, yeah. So, and you got the security, you know, you got the cops undercover watching them and shit. And then you find out that that these kids are what they did, the drugs of what they're dealing with, seeds. You know, and then it would go into that, like, who's the kingpin? You know, so this little old lady dressed like a man, you know, you get to see her do her clothes, and you realize it's this little old lady from down the street that's giving these kids seeds and wanting to have them to realize what a seed is and what it can do and how you can change your community and how you can change your life and your world. And that's I don't know. I mean, it's just gardening seduces you. You know, a lot of times when I talk at universities and, you know, these college kids, and I'm like, imagine you have in your room, in your dorm, you have a balcony and you have like a garden on your balcony. And all of a sudden you can, you know, you got onions and carrots and all that. So you invite the person that you're trying to get with, you know, and it's like, damn. So you go, let me fix dinner. You know, you go to your garden and you fix this dinner, and she's like, ooh, damn, that's sexy. That shit's a panty dropper. Come on, stop. College, he could cook. Oh, shit. So, panty dropper.
T-shirt number 2. This is T-shirt ideas and film ideas. I'm saying like Handmaid's Tale meets The Wire meets Plants vs. Zombies.
I know something's wrong with me. I'm sorry.
No, this is the best conversation I've ever had publicly. The ones we had in the pool that I didn't know was a pool.
Right. Even though he's in a 50-foot pool, which you never realized he was in.
Somehow I thought it was like a 20-foot pool, and we were just in the 30-foot section. But now I'm like, it's like my whole life is back before my eyes. So one of the things that I've often said, because people have asked, because this is your first big museum exhibition.
Yeah.
Right? So is it with plants?
I've done some stuff with the movie post.
Oh yeah. With the plants, this is the first big exhibition with the plants, and you know, you are really well known for the TED Talk and for the master class. And it was like, oh, Ron Finley, I didn't know he was an artist. And I always say, when people say that to me, I said, you know, as the curator, I didn't know that anyone ever thought he wasn't an artist, you know, because your ideology, everything, you know, stems from what I consider the you know, qualities and role of an artist. So for producing this exhibition, there's also a room. There's a modest representation of the garden there, but there's also, if you haven't seen it, a room with some sculptures that were made in collaboration with many great artists. And I know one of them, at least Melissa's here, and her artwork is phenomenal. And Ron,
He's obsessed with
I'm
Melissa's
obsessed.
shovel.
By the way, you're like, he's never looked that way. I was like, yo, very rarely.
He met Melissa earlier. And I've never seen that look on his face
Yeah.
before.
Have any of you gone to see the show yet? Yeah, many of you. Have you seen the shovels? So the snake out of sunflower seeds. Yeah, Melissa Meyer. She's in the room somewhere. So can we give her a hand? Yeah. So geeked out to meet her. But can you talk about the inception of that project?
It basically came from probably my TED years ago, and I just the whole let your shovel be your weapon of choice. The whole swords to plowshares. You don't need a bazooka or a flamethrower. If you want to change this planet, get a shovel. And if we all start getting shovels and we all start growing food, there's no need, there's no hunger, there's no food shortages. It's a lack of us giving a fuck, and because there's how much there's damn near as much food thrown away, that grown food that's thrown away by the time it gets to us than it is. So that food can go somewhere. So it's like I tell people, like, Ron, you're giving people hope, and I say I hope not, because my thing is fuck hope. What can you do with hope? But hope. But what about if you had an opportunity? So I tell people I take a cup of opportunity over a boatload of hope every day. And that's what people need. They need an opportunity to change their mind, to change. And what I'm trying to do is change people's DNA with what I'm doing. And this gardening thing, it's not for some low class or poor people. It's like this is to me, this gardening equals freedom. From us being poisoned, for us being healthy, for us being on medication for the rest of our lives. And it needs to, I wanted to put it in that light. So with the shovels, I handed artists shovels, and it's like, yo, this is what this for. This is what I'm trying to do. Blah, blah, blah. Here. And some of them were like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, you're a fucking artist. Figure it out. And so then others would see what somebody else did. A couple of them might be in the audience. I ain't mentioned no names. And they were like, yeah, I got a new idea. I want to do another shovel. I'm like, no, you didn't. You saw Crayola's video. And they're like, yeah, but yeah, I can't show next to that. Like, why not? You did what you did. I didn't know it was that serious. It's always that serious. It's not a competition in what they would do. It's always a competition, Ron.
Well, I got two shovel stories. So one is like I used to be neighbors to his son Koshin, and one day Koshin shows up to the studio with a shovel,
Right.
And I didn't agree to make a shovel. Right. He said, Ron, here's a shovel from Ron. I said, all right, great. And I put it in the corner because for like a years, but because I had just on the record, I had never agreed to do a shovel. And then about 18 months later, I get a DM. Where the fuck's my shovel? I was like, oh shit, he was serious. And so I made the shovel, and I thought I had a good idea, and I thought it was a good shovel. And then I deliver the shovel, and I walk into the room of shovels, and I had that same thought, like, oh shit, Melissa took it seriously. Damn, that's a high bar. You got a high bar, and then Delphin's here, Koshin's here. I mean, come on. Anyways, super remarkable. And so I would just one more question, and then we'll open it up to the audience. But a lot of your platform really has been about allowing us to access your thinking and world, and inspiring all of us, and especially young people. Have you seen, like, you've been doing this for a minute now, what are some of the coolest results, or have there been results, or people who have done things? Because I know that you'll tell me that, I went to this country, and then there's a whole, blah, 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 amazing things that have happened from this. So what are the success from the seed that you've planted in all of us?
I mean, know that none of this was planned. Nothing, none of this was planned. My plan. I told a guy, one of my friends, I said, "Hey man, I'm about to fuck this game up. I'm about to change this game." Because I tell people I don't need to watch, The Living Dead. I just open my door and they driving Mercedes and shit. They don't know that they're dying or dead. And I said, we need to get this. And I mean, I started in my community, and it wasn't, and it just happened. I mean, it was okay. I'm gonna do this. I was putting gardens in for free, and I was doing this, and I didn't expect this. I didn't expect people to be studying me. I met the girl in Jordan. She says, "I know who you are. We studied you. I studied you at the University of Jordan." And I'm like, Jordan Downs and what? What do you mean Jordan? So, so stuff like that has happened all over the world, man. I had a friend. It's like a friend of mine. He worked in Africa, after college, and so he gets a call from this guy. And he said, man, Ron, he said this guy probably drove a wooden bike for 15 miles to use the phone. And he gets on the phone. You have to go find this guy, Ron Finley. He's in South Central Los Angeles. He makes gardens. And he said, are you fucking kidding me? And so he calls me and he tells me this. He said, man, this guy from Africa, dude, that's like in the bush, come calling me, telling me I need to find you. So it's been stories, like that, which I didn't know. I mean, in the places that I get to go, in the places that I've been invited to, behind growing some plants. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's not that serious, to me. And it's like, I had, I think was it Yale? It was one of those. It might have been Yale. And so these white folks, these are white kids. Oh my God, there's a black guy in South Central. He grows food on the street. And I said, so you guys, you get on a plane and then you hire a bus to come to South Central. I said, you white motherfuckers must be really bored as hell. So no, there's been a lot. I mean, sometimes I look back at what's happened, and you can't even make this up. You're at the St. James Hotel on the roof eating lunch in Greece, and you look up and like, is that the Acropolis? What the fuck? Like, yeah, that's the Acropolis right there. Huh? Yeah, we're going to see Donna Crowell tomorrow night there. And I'm like, what? Because I grew some food on the street and almost got arrested. I love America. So no, it's been, I mean, stories, people losing weight, stuff you would never, I mean, people calling me from all over the world, emailing us and telling how did we change your life. I'm like, you changed it. I didn't, I just opened your brain. So that's what I mean. It's freedom. Growing food equals freedom to me. And we all should do it. It's a life skill to me, just like breathing is a life skill. Most of y'all need to learn how to breathe. So I don't know, man. It's. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, you did. And I'll just say too, when I tour people through the exhibition, I always talk about how your story started with planting food on the street, challenging the way we think about public space. And I always say, when's the last time you went to a museum and the museum encouraged you to sit down, touch the art, and then ever eat the art? They said this is the first time.
Well, I mean, there's some bananas up there right now from my garden, because you can't grow bananas in Los Angeles from what I've heard, but I got a gang. So there's some upstairs. You're welcome to them. But no, I mean, my thing is what's we're allowing these corporations to do to us is just not cool, and they shouldn't want to do this to us. I don't know if you guys know the food babe Bondi Hari. She went to Kellogg's. She had 400,000 signatures. 1,000 people at Kellogg's. They wouldn't let her in the door. Because she's like, take this stuff out of these kids' food. the Fruit Loops and all of it's chemically tainted, and they wouldn't let her in. And they, I guess they know she is, because she didn't change, a bunch of companies like Kraft macaroni and cheese, what was it, Starbucks and stuff. She's like, yo, but this is the most petitions she's ever got, and it's like, why wouldn't they do that? Why is your cereal in Europe and in Canada different than the cereal in America? So she's like, let's boycott, Kellogg's, which I don't eat they shit anyway, but
So you said okay.
well, I mean, yeah, it's just
Easiest
certain
boycott.
stuff that we shouldn't be eating, and we should be aware, and we shouldn't be feeding our kids. This convenient food is conveniently killing your ass, and I want to see that stop. I don't want to see those hands raised when I ask about cancer, because where's it coming from? You women, you got this deodorant with all this garbage in it. Where are you putting it? Your lip nose, right under your arm, and then what do you have? I got breast cancer. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody. Why should I have to deal with that? Why should we, as citizens of this place, why aren't they protecting us? And yeah, and I mean, I don't know. We can. It's to me, it's criminal, and it's unnecessary. And it's all about greed.
Well, I will take some questions, but before I do that, I just want to, so on behalf of myself and all of us, thank you for caring so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And thanks for all you do. He's trying to be modest up here.
Oh, this is your day. So I'm going to open us up for questions, but I cannot point at you for questions because that's not the way it works here. The ushers here will go find the questions. So they have microphones.
Thank you.
And
Ron, like you and I, 1800s, and I'm going to recommend a book to everyone in this audience, whether you are dyslexic or not. And it's his new edition. It's called Dyslexia Advantage. Get that? It's an advantage to have dyslexia. But I will tell you that there's not one person after I've only listened to the book 3 times, because like you, I don't want to sit and read it, and I don't absorb it that way. I recommend it to you because whether you are or your child or a friend, you will find something in the book that's you. Dyslexic Advantage.
Yeah, because I tell people, don't try to make your kid, don't try to change them. Try to enhance what they're doing. And we have this thing where we want everybody to be alike. And we just imagine if everybody was alike, what we would have. Who wants that? So, I mean, I tell them to let their children know that this is their superpower. That they, this is where they put their cape on their back, because they're not thinking like it. They want to do their thing. They do differently, and I think we need more of that in this world, instead of everybody following the rules. Like what do you do for a living? No, really, what do you do for a living? What kind of outreach? See, she does outreach for college for a living. I tell people ask me what I do for a living, I say I breathe. You do that because you want to. So, but we have it. They have us thinking that's a living. That ain't a living. That's what you do because you want to. Some people got jobs that they don't want to have, and you should leave that shit. And it's a bench up there to remind you, operate from happy with whatever you do, because we don't know how long we're here. And if shit don't make you happy, don't do it. It's that simple. So no, it's like, and especially it's funny because when I'm on, sometimes, most of the time, when I'm flying first class, there's always some white guy. It's like, so what you do?
Exactly. By the way, exactly.
And it's basically, to me, maybe I'm taking it wrong. What do I do? Not, and I'll go, hi, my name's Ron. or I'll say, I'm a mortician. And I've been a trash man, and how the fuck is this trash man sitting in this first class seat? And because I want them to think differently. Well, you care what I do. Ask me, hey, my name's John. What's your name or something? But what is that gonna? Are you gonna talk to me because you think I'm somebody because I'm sitting here next to you? No, they do. I've been a gardener. Like, ha ha ha, yeah. I've done that one though. But yeah, it's stuff, and I do it just to make them think differently. And I've had guys that the whole 5 hours they didn't even talk to me. But so. What do you do for a living? Yeah.
What they mean is who let you in. Any other questions? I see one.
Oh, hi. I was just wondering, what have you ever looked at to potentially doing advocation towards allowing more feminine seeds to be planted in order to avoid the allergies? And why is it that we continue to allow corporations to do seedless? Because they know that they're taking away their power.
That's some science shit. I'm an urban gardener, dude.
Sorry.
And a lot of times with this whole seedless thing, people think that if it's seedless, it can't be organic. And that's bullshit. It's being modified, just like most of the things we eat, like broccoli. All this kind of stuff is modified, but it's nothing wrong with it. I mean, it's just dealing with the plant's DNA. But yeah, that's out of my real well. That's above my pay grade.
I did read recently about the seedless bananas not being able to germinate.
Yeah, but bananas.
I know less than you.
Bananas don't necessarily. They flower, and you gotta find the seed in them. But like I said, people are talking about I can't grow them here in America. I mean, America in Los Angeles. But as you've seen, I got a grove.
Yeah,
it's the biggest grass in the world. Plus, you guys, and you can look it up. You share 50% of your DNA with bananas. Look that shit. Look it up.
Yeah, when we had our first Breathe artist convening. I saw a story. It's like, you invite we started with 5 anchor artists, and as I mentioned, Ron was one of them. And we had a little presentation at my studio. Mel Chin gave me COVID that day. I have a picture of myself getting COVID from Mel Chin, who had flown from a gala where he had COVID. Ron Finley took a photo of me getting COVID from Mel Chin at my studio. But all the artists shared remarkable stories and passions, and Ron just on the table some bananas. I was like, oh, that's great. One after the other, the artists would eat a banana. It's like, that's what a banana tastes like? It's like incredible. So who knew that urban bananas were so good? So I encourage you to go and grab some.
No, and I see these as means to us flowering ourselves. I see this as a means of us making money or exchanging things. It's a revenue stream to me. Let it be for exchange for something else or for money. Whereas, I mean, the goal would be to get your neighbors together and start growing food together and trading it and selling it. And we don't look at it like that. We're letting corporations decide what we're going to eat. Like I'll ask this question. How many people, the barcode on your fruits and vegetables got the number on it? How many people know what the numbers mean? It's a damn shame. No, it ain't got nothing to do with how the seeds are grown. Nothing. Nobody see, and this is horrible because I've done this. I did this at Google. So I'm at Google and I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to ask you guys about, the barcode and the numbers, the 4 numbers, 5 numbers. Anybody know? And nobody raised their hand. This woman in the back sheepishly raised her hand and I said, oh, one person. You go. I said, y'all, excuse me, but I said, y'all supposed to be some of the smartest motherfuckers in the world. This Google. And I said, I said, wow, that's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And they're talking. I said, actually, I'll tell you. I said, actually, I'm not going to tell you. I said, y'all should Google that shit. So I got to say that at Google. And they looked it up. And what it's telling you is, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you slowly, or I'm organic. So it's a 4-digit number. The number starts with 9, 5-digit number, and that tells you that it's organic. Look it up on your phone and tell everybody, because nobody knows. And every supermarket in the world that sells foods should have a chart telling you what these numbers are. I'm at a school, and Ash was there, and they're truck full of apples. We're giving these kids fresh food in the hood, and all these apples. And I asked the girl, I said, you know what the sticker is on this food? She said, no. I said, you don't know what it is? I said, yeah. I said, well, these apples are GMO, sprayed. They're wet. She said, oh, really? Oh, but they're fresh. I said, yeah, but they're poison too. And so I said, well, it's better than nothing. I said, no, it's not. I hate that better than nothing shit. You know, the gun is better than the sword or the flamethrower, you know. So it's still killing you. So no, it's not. It's bad. You're giving them poison. So how is it better? So yeah, it's like and these things we accept, and we need to stop. We need to start. I want to be here for a long time, you know, and the way we're letting them do this to us, and the way we're allowing ourselves to do this to us, it has to change. Or, I mean, look at I'm not going to the moon and shit with Eli and them, you know, with Elon, whatever the fuck, you know, and so what? So we can fuck that planet up too? Yeah. Oh yeah, new planet for us to fuck up. Yes. So no.
Well, also when you mentioned that most kids, or when you go tour and you do talks, and a lot of kids don't know that you could pick fruit off trees. They think it comes from a bin, right?
Yeah, and that's sad. I mean, you got to think that most people have not in the United States I think the majority of people have not ever picked an apple or orange or pear off a tree. So you see it in the stove. So you think, ooh, and it's all sexy and sprayed with water. And it's got the light shining just right on it, and they're playing Barry White music and shit. You know, it's like, oh, baby, grab me. You know, so, and it's, you know, so that's where we think food comes from. We don't think of the toll of where our food comes from. We don't think of the people that's been over backwards. Oh, I saw this shit where, no, this is that they have a sled. They have this sled that people are laying on their stomach and it's pulling them, and they're picking the crops. So where are these people going to the restroom? Where are these people eating? What is this stuff sprayed with that they're walking through for hours on end? We don't think about where our food comes from. We don't think about the people who pick and harvest our food, those heroes, you know, and half of them can't afford the food that they're picking. And so figure out where your food comes from and how serious we don't take it serious. We don't take it serious enough. Yeah.
Any other questions in the house? Oh. Next question.
Hello. Oh.
We're breaking the rules, but we'll do that question and then this question. Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, okay. So you're mostly known for gardening and growing your own food and stuff.
I thought I was known for being sexy as hell.
We're just trying to keep you PC here. But as you plotted out amongst your conversation and a lot of seemingly bits of perspectives that seem not, separate, but they're actually, I think one of your bigger messages is interconnection and like you were saying with boxing in and how society doesn't realize that we are given all these traditions and rituals and rules, like you have to get a big job, you have to get a big house, you have to get a big car. These are all things that are going to make you happy. And I'm so glad you gave that example of the diamonds because I completely agree. It's why I don't wear one of myself. Very few people realize that whole engagement ring tradition started from De Beers campaign in 1938 that basically unfairly told men and now women that you have to spend 3 or 4 months of your money to tell someone that you love them. But or like wedding dresses, the tradition of white dresses actually came from wealthy people who wore them to show that they could be the only ones to get married and stuff. So another example that I thought gave really well that I don't get to hear you talk about is your dyslexia. And that's another, as a disabled person, that's another area that shows how much we create these boxes, and if you don't perform at a median, then you're immediately evaluated as someone that's not valuable. So for you, if this is too personal, if you don't mind sharing it in a short blurb, I guess I wanted people to hear from you, like, what your experience is with dyslexia, like how do you see words, because a lot of people don't know, and how you feel like that's contributed into your life in all the good ways, into the variation of the human that you are. Because normally people see disability like someone who's blind as, oh, they can't experience great life, but they have a heightened sense of hearing, so they hear things, they'll hear hummingbirds better than we can, all these things. So someone like you with dyslexia, you were immediately regarded as someone not valuable, and let's put you in a special room, rather than, because we're a system run by medians, rather than looking at you and saying, well, how does this person create and learn? And I think that's a little bit out of your gardening, message, but I think that's a really important thing to show, like how that's contributed to, that perspective contributed to you and, the great person that you are today.
Thank you, Cam. I think it's enhanced my life, because I like I said, I realized I don't think like most people, and that's cool. When I was a kid, I needed to call 411. Anybody remember 411? Are you that old? I would sometimes have to call 411 3 times to get the same number, to get the number right, because I would write it down wrong. I would hear it and I would write some other number, and but I learned how to work with that and just like, okay, this is what happens, and this is what it is. But I wanted this is one of the artists, Cam. But I want what you asked the question earlier, Glenn. My thing is about collaboration. And the whole shovel thing. That's what that was about. Is like I don't just want to be somewhere by myself. I want to bring other people in, just like you, Glenn. I mean, you share. I want it to be a collaboration where we all get together, where we all show what we got, and this is just like, and to me that's like a garden. A garden is a collaboration, and with my dyslexia, Cam, I think it's helped me to see things where you might look at the body and I'm looking at that shadow. Damn, that's a fly ass shadow, that's making. They're like, what shadow, So it made me see things that I think a lot of people or normal people didn't see. But again, I think that's why it's my superpower,
Hello. Oh, it's on. As a fellow dyslexic, hello everybody. Question. I remember I live in Inglewood, California, and I remember when they bought the space shuttle through our neighborhoods, and they killed all our trees down Inglewood, down Manchester, down Crenshaw. All of our beautiful verdant trees gone, and that was, I'm 62, so that was a while ago. What, Ron, do you see something that grows quickly, verdantly, that we could plant, along those corridors? I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime, those trees again, but is there something that we could grow that grows quickly, verdantly, that we could share with others?
No, nothing like those trees. What we're going to have to do is get on the pony up the money to buy mature trees and put some of them back in. I mean, I'm part of Destination Crenshaw, and that was part of what we were going to do on Crenshaw, was to bring in, some mature trees around. But yeah, to me is a desecration, because it really didn't need to happen. They said they had to come out anyway because they're putting a train in, but the space shuttle could have went down the freeway. It could have went down yeah. But there was they could have, but there was some rule. So trust me, I had some of my white folks wanting me to chain myself to trees. I said, black people don't do that. Down Crenshaw,
Voluntarily.
Right, voluntarily. But like Ron, they're killing the trees. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't with it because we're already tree poor, in the community. But yeah, the only way it's gonna be is we need mature trees, and for every one tree you need to plant like 7 saplings trees, because that's the ratio that they found, the tree people, that the trees, those saplings a lot of times going to die. So you have to plant like at least 7 of them. So there's a way. I mean, there's the certain section of Crenshaw that we're dealing with, from a couple of blocks south of Slauson up into Lamert Park. It's gonna be pretty fly. We already got some of the murals, a couple of the murals up, and the sculptures going up. But what I want them to do, I want the stops in our area, I want them to be like pimped out, like, playing, like I want a disco ball, on the train, and I want them to be playing like James Brown and shit. And I mean, like, this is our stop, and even the train could be painted like the Soul Train, the shit like that. So that's what I want. So I wanted to because there's no other place in this city that represents, blackness. And this is what we're trying to do with Destination Crenshaw. Well, this is what we're doing to Destination Crenshaw. Maybe not to what my point of what I want to do. I want, like I tell you, I want this shit to be ultra black, blackety black. Damn, that shit is black. Black as your grandmama's skillet black. Damn, that shit is triple black. I mean, I want that shit blacker than black, blue black, purple black. So
what you're saying is you want black.
I want it black.
Hi, I have 2 questions. The first question.
No, wait. Why you get 2 questions?
Okay, I have one.
No, I'm kidding.
Okay, so I have the first question is, from your gardening experience, you have said twice, I saw in the video, that you didn't know where it came from. You're not, you're doing this and you're doing a great job at it. But what has been one of the most humbling experiences you've had as growing things? What kind of humbling experience has that brought out? Maybe in your art or just in life from growing
things. Humbling. I mean, my whole path to me has been humbling. Just seeing something, just seeing the power in a seed. I don't know. It's that has a kid, and most black people, when we get garlic, you get the whole garlic bulb and it starts turn green, the green tops, anybody know what I'm talking about? And we were taught, oh, it's bad, throw that shit away as black. And it's like, you learn like, no, that shows that it's healthy. And each one of those cloves, all you do is stick it in the ground. And each one of those cloves is a whole nother garlic bulb. And so it's like, we weren't taught that kind of thing. And that's why I said one seed has a forest in it. And we weren't, just imagine if you were taught like that this one seed gave you a nectarine tree. And now you got all these nectarines on this tree, and all of them have seeds. And then the next season, all of them have seeds. And the next season, it's infinity. You want to talk about, rate of return, plant a damn fruit tree. So just imagine if we all grew up with those lessons and saw it like that, and not saw it as this lowly thing that, either, poor people do, or in the other end, the ladies that lunch with their manicured gardens have their gardeners do it for them. So, yeah.
Last question is, what do you think how music plays a role in growing plants or with plants?
It's funny because that was one of the things we were going to do with the show is amplify the sound and let you know that what the sound that these plants are making, which is anybody's heard it, is crazy because you got plants, goo, goo, boo, boo, boo. You got all these plants, when you amplify their vibration, the sounds that it makes, it's like, anybody know who Phil Spector is? Anybody that old? It's like Phil Spector's wall of sound. It's like when you hear these sounds amplified, and that these plants talk to each other. You know, they're alive. That's why you see the plants, and I need to find the sun, and they moved to the sun. We're plants. You know, ain't too much difference between us and you know something we put in the ground. We also need the gardener's shadow, you know, the parent, and we need to make sure that our seeds are well watered and taken care of. You know.
Hey, Ron. Over here, Mayuri. Good to see. Hi. Thanks to you both for this and the dialogue. A lot of the things that you've been talking about, that you talk about, parallel so many philosophies and the spirituality of indigenous places around the world and different spiritualities, and that were also, you know, once seen colonized and once seen as savage and uncivilized, and now are, you know, seen as sustainable or capitalized off of as the way to be. But these concepts are very old and so important. And I was wondering, since you mentioned collaboration, are you interested or have you collaborated with different, you know, gardening gangsters such as yourself, like Vandana Shiva's work in India, or, you know, different wonderful artivists or activists who've been doing such similar work or their own work in this way? So I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah, I mean, I have. I've Donna, she's like my hero. You know, and you want to talk a gangster? She gangster for real, for real. And but yeah, I do. I mean, to a point. I'm not as hippie as a lot of those guys. I'm hippie, but I ain't that damn. I don't have no Birkenstocks, you know.
Not
but
now.
Not. Somebody said they're gonna buy me some. um, okay, Larry. but yeah, I mean, I do. I have done collabs. I've done workshops throughout, you know, in different countries, and the whole indigenous thing is it's terrible because you go to these countries, you know, you go to Canada, you go to Australia, Melbourne, and every big event, you know, every opening, we like to, you know, first say that, you know, we're on indigenous land, and we like to, fuck you. Give them back their land. And it's like what? We on your land, but we ain't giving it to you. And it bothered me because I remember I was in Australia, and the guys would come out and do the ceremony. You know, the guys would dance, and I said, "How does that make you feel?" Oh, you know, somebody needs. I said, "It makes me feel sick." You know, to see you doing that, and you got these people saying we got this museum on your land, and yeah, and it bothers me because you know every square every square inch that was stolen. Give them back their land. In one place, I did that in Minnesota, the university, and it was kind of cool because you know she starts off with this whole you know, and they supposed to do this acknowledge the land acknowledgement, you know, of these humans that you desecrated and tried to destroy. And she did it, and I got up, the first thing I said, it's like, you know, it's cool, no disrespect to you guys, and I did my thing about how irritating it is to hear that. And if it irritates me, it must really irritate the people that had this land that you stole, you know, that they were the caretakers, and now you've destroyed it. And trying to look at these indigenous practices to bring it back. So I did my talk. Before I did my talk, I told them, you know, how I feel about it. And I said, that's what you should do. Give them back their fucking land. And so the next day we had lunch, and she said, that's something that you know, they heard me. And they heard the audience, and they said they were starting to work on, after that conversation, they had a meeting, and that they were working on giving at least some part of the land of the university back to the people, the Native Americans that were there. So yeah. So I mean, I think that, and with that, I say we need to speak out, all of us. If the shit don't feel good, speak out. You know, if you got something, that's the only way it's gonna get changed. You know, is if we speak out, if we show up, and if we vote. Got a lot of questions.
How much time do we have for question? What's that? Oh, we've been out of time. We'll do two.
When did Larry become the timekeeper?
We'll do two more.
Who even invited his ass?
I know, exactly.
Hello, is the microphone on? I'm 82, so I figure age has to have some gratuities. So I don't know if I'm the oldest person in here. But anyway,
just by the voice, I know who that is.
I would just like to say
that's Miss Etha Robinson, the South Central elder.
By way of Yazoo City, Mississippi, a genuine, real cotton picker. I know about cotton, which is the fabric of our lives. And I think it's
the fabrics of their lives.
The fabric, the fabric of their lives. And it's interesting to know that the national motto for the Cotton Council is a bowl of cotton. A bowl of cotton. They actually copyrighted a bowl of cotton as their logo, so you cannot use that. I also would like to say thanks to Ron. I met Ron through this gentleman next to me. But Carver, George Washington Carver, he was the man who said he talked to plants. He was I don't know how many of you know of George Washington Carver. And when we talk about plants, he should always be in the foremost. He made so many products out of peanut hulls and potatoes and things like that. Yet we hardly hear of him. There should be a museum in every city, every town that pays a tribute to George Washington Carver. Carver made a statement that the farther you take children away from the earth, the faster you ensure their death. The farther away you take them from the earth, the greater you enhance their chances of death. And I think it's very important to remember what the definition that was on the screen a while ago about harvest. It's when you reap the benefits of your efforts. So what about the efforts that people are going to reap from doing the things that they've done? And they don't just stop with you. You have your grandchildren, your great-great-great-great-grandchildren. So it's time to start making some reparations. Give up some of that money. Give up some of the booty that you took from all these people. Give it up so you can. So when you start thinking about it, well, maybe you can make some amends for that. My thing is that money is only paper. If you don't believe it, put a match to it. Give it away right now. Who wants to be rich in the land of poor people? You're not going to enjoy your money because those poor folks are not going to let you. So you need to start giving some of it away to people like me. I have a dream. I need $5 million. I know some of you know some people that's give me $5 million. I ain't going to charge you no interest or nothing. If you know somebody who wants to help an old lady, 82 years old, as old people say, I have a cultural product called a tea cake, first made by slaves over 200 years ago, older than the Oreo. Of course you don't know about it because it was certain that you wouldn't know about it. You know about the Oreo, came about in 1942, but the slave cookie tea cake goes all the way back to slavery.
Did you bring us some tea cake?
No, I didn't, but I want to also say the other hand to what happens to food when we grow it is we can preserve it. They were digging under, I think, Monticello, Jefferson's house. They were doing some remodeling, and they found 20 or 30 jars of cherries that had been canned over 250 years ago, and they were still fresh and edible. No bacterial contamination had occurred. We know they were made by a black slave, but they were buried in the soil. So my point is, nature has a way of taking care of itself. We just are morale. I don't know what's wrong with us. Sometimes I think like we are a kid in a candy store, not me, but many people are. So I would like to beseech those people who have money as a burden. You don't know what to do with it. Here's 82 years. You want to make a dream come true.
Ms. Robinson. So where's the question?
Say what? Say
I love this little woman.
Say what? Say what?
So where's the question?
The question is, well, this is opportunity. When you get to be my age, you have some rights. You don't have to stay on.
You
You
know
do
I love
not
you.
have to stay. Dare to be different. Didn't you say that? That I don't want to have to fit in the box, so I'm not fitting in the box today. At 82 years old, it's do or die. So my point is that people don't know they can't. But I think one of the things, of course, with Ron that we did, we canned some of the food. So adding value to what Ron does, how else do you think that we can add value to the food and to the things that we do on a daily basis? Adding value to it, because that's very important.
That's a question. You already said it all, Miss Robinson.
I know, but how, are there other ways that you think that we have not done that we could add value to some of the work that you've done?
I mean, my first thing is to let people, they need to see the value in themselves. And I think that's what a lot of what has us here. We think things give us value, but we don't see the value in who we are, what we are, and what defines us. You know, what you're talking about is what I want our culture to be about, you know, not about, you know, rap music and all this other stuff. And, you know, I want our culture to be that. I mean, 50 years of hip hop. How many banks do we have? How many schools? How many, businesses? Who owns their own record manufacturing plant? Music, not a label. Who owns? So it's like things like this. 50 years. You know, what happened after 50 years of Reconstruction? You know, you see what Black people did. So what it was, what are we celebrating? So no, I love you. So I'm with that. You know.
Well, on that, I think we should wrap it up. Thank you so much, Ron. And thank you for being here.
Kaino.